Am I audible now? Am I audible? Hello, Sonia. All right. Okay, so we'll continue the environmental questions. I've been allotted 4 to 5 days to cover the PYQs of geography and environment, and I want to do the environmental questions first, and then we'll continue with the agriculture as we had decided yesterday. Now, how many of you got a fair idea of how to prepare from environmental PYQs or any PYQs? Did we get a pattern on how we have to start preparing when it comes to previous year questions? Simply solving the questions is no point. We should have a conceptual clarity so that we get an idea. Yes, hello Sayyed, hello Yashvardhan, hello Randhir. Okay, so very quickly, please let me know what are your learnings from yesterday's session. What are your learnings? What did you take from yesterday's session? If you were there yesterday, what exactly did you think you could learn and you could grasp, or how to prepare for, this particular module, let's say the crash courses or PYQs, etc. How are you going to prepare for your coming exam? All right. Anybody? Hello, Sai Kumar. I would request if people who are from who have joined from the Zoom link, if you could come on YouTube, because then I have to shuffle between two chat boxes, one on the Zoom and another on the YouTube. It will be easier for me. It will be easier for me. First of all, we got a general idea about how to cover these topics. More importantly, we got an idea about how to use PYQs by basically, searching and how to, use the options. Okay, Yonita, you can go on the Edukemy's YouTube page, and if you go on the videos, the first video will be this live, if at all it is convenient. Sai Kumar, if you were not there yesterday, the video is available on YouTube. I think it will be available on your LMS also. So try to go and check that out. Now, before starting the session, I would like to ask you, I wanted to ask this question yesterday, but I think now that we have covered a little portion, I want to ask you what exactly are the areas which are your pain point when it comes to preparation of geography and environment. Geography and environment. Tell me the areas which are your pain point when you're doing the MCQs of geography and environment. I am expecting that you people have started doing the test papers, and if you have started doing test series, if you have started doing test series, then there must be few questions or a variety of questions where you're doing mistake repeatedly. Please tell me what are those areas, because whatever 4 or 5 days I have in my hand, I'll try to help you out with those particular topics. I can give you more reading material, more sources from where you can prepare them. So from this particular subject, will everyone, those who have started doing question papers or who have been doing, okay, so I've got one answer from Bhavani. He says that critically endangered species, location, sample papers. No, I'm not giving sample papers. Generally, test series, there are daily tests on the Edukemy's channel, also on Telegram. Alright, so I have students who are saying that one species related. That was the reason I took that as the first topic. The species related. Then you have the location problem. Do you want me to take a special class of PYQs only on the geographical locations? How many of you want that? environmental protection bodies, environmental conventions, internationals. Okay, so basically conservation efforts and associated institutes. If I'm wrong, if I'm not wrong, right? I understood that. I understood, Sayed, what you're trying to say. Any other area which is a pain point? Yeah, that is exactly what I'm trying to grasp here. As I have told you yesterday also, that I don't believe in simply reading out questions and telling you the options. That won't help you. So if I have a considerable amount of number of students who have issues in one particular area, then actually we can put more emphasis on it. So I think, are you somewhat comfortable in this? Are you somewhat comfortable? Are you able to at least get an idea how to prepare for this particular? All right, now coming to these two, I'll make sure that I take, whenever I'm doing the geography, probably from tomorrow, I'll try to do a specific mapping sessions along with the questions. Agriculture. Now beta, you have to understand, as a teacher of geography, all right, problem in locating areas. So I've got an input from Sayed that location is important, but you want the class to be fast because the exams are approaching. So can I expect one thing from you? Yes, Dhanraj, I'll try to give you as many tips as I can. Let's do one thing. In every class, I will tell you a few maps that you have to come and read whenever you come to the next class, and we'll have a very quick revision of all the important locations, all the important national parks. Will that work for everyone? Rather than me telling you this is the important, I'll give you, let's say, for example, I'll give you the homework of do all the Ramsar Convention sites. So what you will do is, you will locate all the Ramsar Convention, and I will give you the extra points. For example, if you have located Sambhar Lake, I will give you what extra you have to read about the Sambhar Lake. For example, what is the flora and fauna, what are the water bodies, what are the important type of species that you generally find, especially the birds. For example, you have located, if I give you locate all the biosphere reserves, your job will be to do that on your own, and I will give you the extra input on it. I think that model will work for everyone. That will be effective. I think it will solve both the problems. One, the time, which even I agree, you don't have a lot of time. And of course, the common problem which students have, that they know that this thing is located, let's say, in West Bengal, but is it having wet deciduous forest? Is it having tiger reserve? Is it having any particular type of power plant which is located there? Because in geography, yes, Dhanraj, you're right. I think you're answering about the Sambhar Lake, that we get salt from that particular area. So we will be doing this. So your homework for tomorrow will be, please come prepared. Please come prepared for all the Ramsar site locations, with all the Ramsar site locations. And second is, will you do the biosphere reserves? These are lesser in number. Biosphere reserves. All right. Will you do these two? Okay. You come prepared with these two. My job will be to give you extra points, to give you additional information about these two areas from where the questions can be asked. Because the problem is, whenever there are multiple line questions, this is where students face problem. All right. Chaliye. So I think location is also sorted. Now coming to conservation efforts in institute. For this particular topic, there are 2-3 ways to approach this. One is going straight away by the question answer format, that I'll take up questions and I'll simply talk about it. Schemes, beta Chandan, I have a limitation. I have to wind up in 4 to 5 days. So let me at least do these two topics properly, which is geography and environment. geography and environment is not where schemes come in. I can help you in telling you how to prepare government schemes. That I can help you. In fact, there is a playlist. If you have time, go through that playlist. It has very small short videos, 8 to 10 minutes, and I think there are some 80 odd schemes covered there. Me and Harsh Singh sir have actually covered that. If you have time, you can go through that. All right, chaliye. So coming to the conservation efforts part, in conservation efforts, there are two ways to approach it. One, we can go by the domain. We can go by the domain. For example, climate change, land degradation, water, all right, and air. Very good, Chandan. If you have already covered the schemes, all you have to do is simply take up any content which is having current affairs and just add on to those schemes. I think that will be more than enough. If you have gone through those videos, you know that it is not necessary that only the new schemes will come. Sometimes the older schemes also come in your exams. So one way of doing the conventions and institute is that we can go, topic wise. For example, in climate change, the entire UNFCCC, all right, which includes your Rio Summit, Agenda 21, all of this. Then we can talk about COP26. Then we can talk about National Action Plan on Climate Change, etc. In land degradation, we can talk about UNCCD, right? And then in water, we can talk about the different conventions. For example, what are the efforts for coral bleaching? What are the efforts for marine pollution? What are the efforts for ocean acidification, etc. And when it comes to air, the area which is repeatedly being asked in your prelims and in mains. In mains also, almost every year you're getting questions on air pollution. Recently there was a release of index of the most polluted cities, 100 most polluted cities in the world. Apart from that, WHO has recently given the guidelines for air pollution, and none of the metro cities or none of the capitals of the world was able to follow those guidelines, and those guidelines were asked in your mains. All right, so anything which is asked in your mains can be asked in your prelims as well. So we can go by this method. One method is this, that take up a topic and finish it by that. Second is by simply doing question and answer format. By question and answer, we'll go through the previous year questions and the schemes or the institutes or the organizations related to it we will do. So what method do you want? Method 1 or method 2? Method 1 or method 2, I can follow any approach depending upon what is more convenient to you. Chali, please let me know. So then comes agriculture. Of course, agriculture, I'll try to wind up environment as soon as possible, and I will try to start with agriculture. But again, agriculture actually is a topic which is part of economy, which is part of environment plus geography also. So I will try to finish first the environmental and geography part. I'll try to finish the environmental and geography part. All right, you still have to give me the answer on which method do you want to use. All right, I've got one student who said that he is comfortable with the second method, that is taking up questions and then going by the schemes. So can we set on that? Should we do that? Should we take that approach? क्या हो गया भाई, सब खाना खा के आर यू इन द स्लम्बर मोड, ऑलमोस्ट अबाउट टू स्लीप? चलिए, so let us come to the main agenda, which is the different questions. Please attempt this particular question. Today I think a lot of your issues related to the institution related to your institutions will be solved. Chaliye, please try to answer this question. अच्छा, सारा खाना खा के सारे के सारे सो रहे हो? What is the answer to this question? Anybody? Chaliye Sayyed, I'll see if I can take up all these reports. Otherwise, I'll give you the notes. I'll give you the notes of that. Chaliye, so it is talking about the red data books. The red data books, it is published by the International Union for Conservation of Nature and National Resources, which is IUCN. IUCN. What does it contain? What does it contain? I am getting questions, answers as, now IUCN is for threatened plants and animal species, or is it for endemic plants and animal species? Is it for protected sites? Protected sites. Most of you are answering B. Most of you are answering B. I think very easy. Okay, I have one student who's saying C. C, which is 2 and 3. Protected sites for conservation of nature. And what do you have biosphere reserves then for? What do you have man and biosphere for that? You have a program called Man and Biosphere. Then you have biosphere reserves. Then you have biodiversity hotspots. Then you have national parks. Then you have different types of ecological places of importance, etc. This is where your 1 and 3 will come. IUCN simply basically gives you a list of threatened plants and animal species. I have covered it yesterday. Do you remember? I have covered it yesterday. What are the extremely threatened ones? These are extinct, extinct in the wild, critically endangered. Vulnerable are endangered, vulnerable, near threatened. Then you have least concerned, right? And we took a question also which was about Indian gazelle, that how that one statement that their population is threatened actually changed the whole question, because wild ass or buffalo are not the threatened species, whereas Indian gazelle is. All three actually fit into the criteria of being from the salt and sandy region and without any end predator. All right, so you have to take care of these small things. Any doubt in this question? I think extremely easy question to start with. Extremely easy question to start with. Chaliye, please answer this question. Please answer this question. The question says that among the following tiger reserves, which one has the largest area under the critical tiger habitat? Critical tiger habitat, is it Corbett, Ranthambore, or Nagarjun Sagar, Sri Salem? Again, do you think this is a tough question? Is this a tough question? Why are you unanimously telling me that it is Nagarjun Sagar, Sri Salem? Give me the logic. Logic क्या है? Is it humanly possible for you to remember the geographical area of each? Very good, very good. I am getting majority of the answers, but is it humanly possible to remember the geographical areas of each? When you cannot remember the geographical area, okay, I've got one student, Nitendra, who's saying D. Nitendra, are you saying this because you can imagine Sundarbans being the mangroves which are spread over a larger area? Are you having that image that it is part of the ocean and land, hence it will have a large area? Is that your logic? Then you have to understand that mangroves also have their limitation. Why are they limited? Because they need estuarian kind of region where there is intermixing of water, where there is substrat of soil sediments which is brought by the river, etc. And mangroves are not extremely flourishing when it comes to marine water. All right, so yes, that is a common mistake. Of course, Jim Corbett is one of the smallest national park. Ranthambore again is not one of the biggest. The reason why Nagarjun Srisalam was the obvious choice, because if you know the geographical location, can anyone tell me the states in which I have Nagarjun Srisalam? Nagarjun Srisalam. So Bhavani is saying that is not critical. I am saying even if you don't remember, always remember these questions are more IQ testing rather than your knowledge testing. Can you tell me the states where Nagarjun Srisalam is spread across? Yes, Sayyid, you are absolutely right. Estuarian most productive zone, and estuaries are also ecotone region. Is it only Telangana or it is spread across more than Telangana or AP region? It is spread across Andhra and Telangana, and is one of the biggest tiger reserves. Now let us understand what critical tiger habitat is. Please write if you want to make notes of it. Now, critical habitats are critical wildlife habitats under the Forest Rights Act of 2006. There has been a question on Forest Rights Act about they asked that which of these acts actually provided the rights to the forest dwellers to have the ownership of land, and there also Forest Rights Act were important. So this might be from 2006, but Forest Rights Act is extremely important. So whenever you go for your prelims, very quickly just revise the salient features of Forest Rights Act. All right. Now, critical tiger habitat means such areas of national parks that within the national park and sanctuaries you are having areas which are required to be kept as inviolate for the purpose of wildlife conservation. Here the utmost importance is given to wildlife conservation, and no other activity is supposed to take place. All right, now coming to different types of organization and initiatives, you can very quickly write why India is home to maximum number of tigers. India is home to maximum number of tigers because of National Tiger Conservation Authority. I think I should zoom it out. Okay. Because of National Tiger Conservation Authority, because of Tiger Census, Project Tiger, Conservation Assured, Tiger Standards, also called as CATS framework, and providing suitable habitat by declaring tiger reserves, declaration of core area. How many of you know that core area is one of the most protected areas? Core areas is one of the most protected areas when it comes to the tiger reserves, and it has a legal status. Very important. It has a legal status. legal status of wildlife sanctuary or national park. And these areas are free of all forestry operations and human activity. So please write core areas which are especially established for the tiger conservation. Please let me know when you're done writing. All right. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Again, extremely simple question. Extremely simple question. Please attempt this question. Yes, Sushmita, you're right. Core area, minimum or least outside interference. You're absolutely not allowed to have any kind of activity in the core area. It is only for the tiger. Please give me an answer to this. This question says that biodiversity forms the basis of human existence from the in the following ways. 1. Soil formation, prevention of soil erosion, recycling of waste, pollination of crop. Is it a difficult question? It is absolutely an easy question. Biodiversity covers all of them and much more. That is providing food, providing resources, etc. All right. Very easy question. The answer here would be D. Whenever you think that everything fits in the formula, then generally you can go for the answers 1, 2, 3 and 4. Does any explanation needed in particular in this particular question? Please attempt this question. Again, extremely easy question. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Chaliye. So this says that which one of the following is not a site for in situ method of conservation? What is in situ? In situ and ex situ. In situ basically means, yes, I'm getting a lot of answers which is B. Why? Because in situ is to conserve in their natural habitat. In their natural habitat. And ex situ basically means, yes, it has been asked in multiple exams. Ex situ basically means conservation outside their natural habitat. Very quickly, can you please give me few examples of ex situ? Ex situ examples. One, we know that it is botanical garden. This is correct answer. One is botanical garden. Botanical garden. Very good. So, what are the other examples? Zoo. Then can I say different types of seed banks? Gene banks. Seed banks, gene banks, where the biodiversity is conserved. Biodiversity park also. Biodiversity park, if it is located outside the natural habitat, can be, can I say aquariums, etc. So all of these are nothing but the example of ex situ conservation. Please attempt this question. Yes, all of you. What are gene banks? Dhanraj is asking what are gene banks. Can someone in the chat tell the student what are gene banks? Chaliye, give me the answer for this. Which of the following state is Pankhui Wildlife Sanctuary located? Extremely easy question. Arunachal Pradesh. Agreed. Why do you think this question was asked? Why do you think this question was asked? Why do you think this question was asked? Acha, can you tell me? Now, since we are doing all these questions, the format still remains the same. You have to write Pankhui Wildlife Sanctuary. You have to write Pankhui Wildlife Sanctuary in your notes. You have to write its location, the kind of vegetation. For example, does it have rainforest type of vegetation? Does it have moist deciduous forest? What are the important animals? Plus, if it has any special characteristics. That could be, for example, it is in news. How many of you remember that there was an offense by China in the Arunachal Pradesh region? Okay, Ankit has given an answer on gene pool, that depository of different genes, preserve genetic material. So beta, basically gene pools are the areas. For example, we are having multiple types of crops which are there. Then you have you heard of the Gokul mission? Have you heard of the Gokul mission? Extremely right, Sayyed, you are right, it is for the tiger also. Now, Dhanraj, have you heard of the Gokul mission? And Gokul mission is used for preservation of the indigenous cow variety. Now, indigenous cows are very, very few left because during the White Revolution, the intermixing of breed took place. Now, if I want to restore good genes, then I need a gene bank. For example, restoring good genes of, let's say, Gorkha, or a particular type of tribe, or a particular type of animal, or a particular type of let's say plant, seed, anything. For that I need a gene bank. All right, with genetic engineering I can insert, yes, I can insert the healthy genes into the DNA material of the offspring and get the attributes. I think now it is clear what are gene banks. Chaliye. Is it also being used for conservation of biodiversity? Yes. But is it in situ? No, it is not. Now coming to Arunachal Pradesh, it was in news for the fact that China was getting aggressive in this state, claiming that Arunachal Pradesh is part of India, and Pankhui Wildlife Sanctuary is one of the important areas. So if the state becomes important, the highways going through that state, the national parks, biodiversity reserves, anything from that state becomes important. All right. So if you want, you can either search or you can take a screenshot of this particular map, which basically has all the important national parks. So what I used to do during my preparation long back, I used to have a map of India in my mind. I come from geography background, so I anyways have to have a good understanding of mapping. So this is a tip for you also, if at all you have the time now. Those who are planning to give it next year can start doing it right away. Is take up the states. Take up the states. For example, I start with Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory, and in Jammu and Kashmir I start with what is so special about this state. So what I used to do is I used to divide it into multiple segments. First is geography. In geography, I used to write what kind of geography or physical features it has. So let's say it has some type of mountains. I will write mountain ranges. For example, you would have heard of questions such as Pir Panjal range and Dhauladhar range are located in which of these states. So I basically, rather than simply writing Himalayan mountains, I used to write the important ranges which are found here. Next comes the rivers. What are the important rivers? And then comes the resources. So when I say resources, I can say that it has Kareva soil, which is only found in this region, which is used for saffron or saffron cultivation. Saffron is the Indian variety of saffron. Then I can say this place is the only location where I have anthracite coal, in the Kalakot region. All right. Then I will say that this is also This is also the only location where I have a very prominent Exbo Lake. Exbo Lake or Oxbow Lake. How many of you understand what is an Oxbow Lake? Oxbow Lake, right? Then I used to come on the second segment. On the second segment, which is, let's say, the environment portion. In the environment portion, I am concerned about the important animals first. So when I take animals, I let's say take Hangul. I will take Hangul, and in Hangul, I know that Dachigam. Have you heard of Dachigam National Park? Dachigam National Park, yes, lake made out of river. River meandering, do we know this? When river meanders at a very slow speed, this area has soil deposits, and this becomes a lake, and this is called an Oxbow Lake. Oxbow Lake. Then yes, I took an example of Dhanraj, you're also right. You can take any example here. All right. Then you have to then locate. Yes, then you have to locate where that kind of animal or species is found. Then you come to special plants. For example, they have multiple times asked you about the different types of plants and the kind of flora. Now, Jammu and Kashmir has both tundra and taiga kind of forest. They have deodar trees. So, there only mention the type of trees which are found. Then comes, let's say, the third area which is culture. Third area which is culture. In culture, now here I will write about the different tribes. Then festivals. Then religion. And then if there are certain beliefs. For example, this is also the area where I have a very prominent Shaivite culture, I have Sufi culture, and earlier when Leh and Ladakh was also part of Jammu and Kashmir, it was having the Mahayana Buddhism also in this region. Mahayana Buddhism, which worships the different forms of Buddha, the different incarnation. Do you get a certain idea how you can start with a state? When you revise a state, it becomes easy. You can use anything. Since I have a little interest in politics, I try to understand, okay, now I'm going to take the states. Yes, now I'm going to take the states. Nitendra, you're right. Now I'm going to take a state, let's say, which is bordering China. If at all China attacks India, what are the states? I'll write down the states of those, and then I take, the important points of this. Likewise, you can go for important highways. Do you have to remember all the highways? No, but let's say any important highway is already there. If you have the waterway, you have a very prominent national waterway which is on Brahmaputra river, mention it here. If there was anything in news, mention it here. If you have time, believe me, this is a very effective way of covering the entire India. It will help you not only in prelims but help you in mains, and also you will have better conceptual clarity, because you can actually imagine the entire map of India. Alright, so if you have time, please follow this route. It will be easy. Now, please attempt this question. Alright, so this question is talking about Agasthyamala Biosphere Reserve, and which of the following are part of Agasthyamala. If you remember, when I talked to you about a particular national park, I said that you have to remember the part of the big national parks or biosphere reserves, because they are also asked in the paper. This is what I was talking about. Now here, which of these are actually in news? Which of these have been in news? Now, how will you prepare for your current paper, from this particular question? First, of course, write about the different types of wildlife sanctuaries and national parks which are part of Agasthyamala. Then write about the different species. If there is any particular species, for example, Silent Valley has lion-tailed macaque. Silent Valley or this region, does this region has red sanders? What is red sanders? Red sanders, chandan ki lakdi, right? The southern states are known for the smuggling of the red sanders. Then does it have any particular type of, let's say, cloves or pepper or cardamom, etc.? Then also mention that, and then you can go for each of this, write about each of this region. So I'm getting majority of the answers as A or B. So basically Agasthyamala Biosphere Reserve consists of Nayar, Pepera and Shendurne, right? Majority of you were giving me the answer B, but as you can see, it is the A answer, which is the closest match. From where can I read? I have mentioned the page of NCERT where Agasthyamala Biosphere Reserve has been mentioned. All right. So a good reading of your NCERT will help you for this particular type of questions. Now please attempt this next question. Yes, Sindhu, you're right. They are part of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. Very quickly, which of the following protected areas is well known for the conservation of subspecies of Indian swamp deer or Barhasinga? Extremely easy. It is a tiger reserve, but is known for the conservation of Barhasinga. Dhanraj, can you tell me the location of Tal Chhappad Wildlife Sanctuary? First of all, each one of you, where is Kanha National Park? Which state? Kanha National Park, which state? Those who are giving me the answer A, it is the state of Madhya Pradesh. Where do I find Manas National Park? Manas National Park is in the state of Assam. What kind of forest do I have here? I have deciduous forest. In Assam, yes, in Assam, I'm having, no, Kanha is not in Arunachal Pradesh. In Assam, I'm having what kind of forest? I'm having rainforest. Where do I have Mudumalai Wildlife Sanctuary? What is the state for Mudumalai and what is the state for Thal Chapad? Alright, so Dhanraj is saying that Tal Chapad is in Rajasthan. So since the since you believed that Tal Chapad was in Rajasthan, was that the reason that you thought that it would be used for the conservation of the deer? Conservation of deer. Mudumalai, Tamil Nadu or Kerala? Now, you have to understand Barhasinga, the answer here is Kanha National Park. But when it comes to deer, and when it comes to big deer, always remember it is either the arid or semi-arid regions. It is either the arid or the semi-arid region where you have these majestic herbivore animals, where you have majority or more of the most of the herbivore animals, and Kanha National Park is the right answer for this. In fact, the main logo of Kanha National Park is of a Barhasinga. Now coming to, of course I have given you the answer to this. Now coming to what extra can be learned from it is best example from this particular question. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Chaliye. So this is saying two important rivers, one with its source in Jharkhand and known by a different name in Odisha, another with its source in Odisha, merge at a place only a short distance from the coast of Bay of Bengal. This is an important site for wildlife and biodiversity and protected area. Which one can it be? Which one can it be? Now again, do you realize this is where the entire mapping becomes important. You are giving, majority of you are giving me the answer Bhitarkanika because of the saltwater crocodile, right? Majority of you are giving me the answer Bhitarkanika for saltwater crocodile, and this being an area which is Ramsar site, an important wetland. The ones which are giving me Simlipal is because of what is Simlipal important for, or what is Simlipal? Is it a national park? Is it a wildlife sanctuary? Is it a tiger reserve? What is it? What is it? Next is Chandipur on sea and Gopalpur on sea. The reason I am not getting two of these as the option because these are the lesser known locations. These are the lesser known locations. So this is where your mapping, what I told you about the different state mapping, will help you in finding the answer. So the answer is, of course, Bhitarkanika. The answer is Bhitarkanika. And why Bhitarkanika is important? Because it has the second largest mangrove ecosystem. Proximity to Bay of Bengal makes the soil of the area enriched with salts. Then it is the breeding place of saltwater crocodiles, and then the Gahirmat beach, extremely important, is known for the breeding of, yes, Simlipal will be as it borders with Jharkhand, but then the answer to this given by UPSC is Bhitarkanika. It's okay, Bhavani, you were not giving a bad answer. All right. So it is having conservation for two animals, which is saltwater and a crocodile and my olive ridley turtle. Now please give me the answer to this particular question. What shall be the answer to this particular question? Within biological communities, some species are important in determining the ability of a large number of other species to persist. These are called extremely easy. These are called keystone species. These are called keystone species. Hence, it is extremely important. Therefore, they are called keystone. What is the meaning of keystone? What is the meaning of keystone? Keystone. Basically, keystone is nothing, especially in the Mughal or arch type of architecture. Keystone is that particular building stone or mason stone. If removed, the entire building might collapse. So the answer for this question, of course, is keystone species. Those who want to write notes about this, I'll just remove myself. You can take a screenshot. I have given the answer for what are allopatric speciation, sympatric speciation or allopatric species. These are what are allopatric species? These are the species which occur because a given group has been separated from the parent group. For example, these two have been separated. It could be due to continental drift, or it could be due to habitat fragmentation, anything. And as they are separated, their evolution changes. Second, sympatric occurs even though when they are living together, even though they are not separated, still there is change. Now, Ankit is asking me, ma'am, are keystone and flagship species exactly the same? Tiger is an example of flagship species, but honeybee, along with tiger also, is an example of keystone species. Have you heard of the statement by Einstein that if you remove the bees from the planet or the ecosystem will collapse? But bees are not flagship species. Flagship species are these magnificent species such as dolphins, tiger, elephant, rhino, etc., which are very, very important for the ecosystem also, and they are used for awareness purpose also. Their conservation is done separately. Keystone species can be any animal which has a very important role. For example, phytoplanktons in the marine ecosystem. Ankit, I think I have given the answer to your question. Sentinel species, especially frogs, are the species which are very, very sensitive. These are like the indicators. These are extremely sensitive for the environment. Of course, so K and K infinity, elephant is a keystone species or not? You give me an answer. I say yes, you give me the reason. I say yes, elephant is a keystone species. People in the chat, you give me the reason why it is called why it is part of the keystone species. Anyone have seen the movie Mowgli? Anyone seen the movie Mowgli? And please tell me very quickly, why these particular species would be important. Why these particular species would be important. Chaliye, now coming to the important animals which have been in news, I have given you about them earlier also. These are the few. The Karur district forest officer has recently submitted a proposal for species recovery program. I think I am taking this question again and again on species recovery program, and one of the important species is slender loris. Slender loris can come in your exam. Yes, it is also a flagship and it is also a keystone. You can have it both. You can have both as flagship and keystone species. It is as simple as that, Sonia, that any keystone species can be a flagship species, but not every flagship species has to be a keystone. For example, giant panda. Alright, so very quickly write about this beautiful animal which is slender loris. It usually travels from canopy of one tree to another and it feeds on insect. Tell me, where is Karur district? State. Which is the state? Karur district. हाँ, हाथियों ने इस जंगल को बनाया है. So why elephants were considered so important, beta? Because they create pathways, then they are important herbivores. They also make sure that there is a balance. Then they are important for the control of certain type of vegetation that they feed on, etc., which gives them importance as keystone species. Karur district, state, very quickly. Now, where is it found? Where it is found? It is native of India and Sri Lanka. They are found in the tropical rainforest, scrub forest, semi-deciduous and swamps. There are two types, red and grey. These are endangered. They are part of scheduled one. Schedule 1, and why are they getting extinct? Because of medicinal properties. Now, which is the country which makes weird medicines using animals? कौन सा देश है जो जानवरों से बहुत ज्यादा दवाइयां बनाता है अजीब अजीब सी। It is in Tamil Nadu. We know that Karur district is in Tamil Nadu. Now medicinal properties किसकी होती हैं सबसे ज्यादा, which is related to animals? It is China. All right. So they are captured and sold in the Southeast Asian region. Do we clearly understand this particular map? Do we clearly understand this particular map when it comes to different type of flora and fauna? Is this map absolutely clear to everybody? This is these are the western boundaries, these are the eastern boundaries, this is, let's say, equator, and this is moving towards pole. Everyone is clear with this? You should always have this in your mind whenever you are revising the world geography, that the eastern margins, all the eastern margins, whereas whether it is equatorial, whether it is subtropical, whether it is temperate, they are all generally going to have, except for Arctic region, they will always have forest. The eastern margin, and the western margins either have desert which is tropical and subtropical, or they will have Mediterranean or chaparrals. But when it comes to the temperate region, there is a continuous boreal forest, and hence boreal forests are also called as the most continuous biome of the world. Most continuous boreal forest or taiga is considered as the most continuous biome in the world. All right, chalo, please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. So this question talks about the Himalayan range. This question talks about the Himalayan range, that Himalayan range is very rich in species diversity. Which one among the following is the most appropriate reason for this phenomena? Think very hard about this. Now, if you are an optional student, it is an easy question. If you are an optional student, it is an easy question. All right, so they say, I've removed myself. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. So they say first option is that they have high rainfall that supports the luxuriant. Is it true? Not true. It is the confluence of different biogeographical zones. What are biogeographical zones? What are biogeographical zones? Majority of you have given the answer B or D. B or D, exotic and invasive species have not been introduced, and D is it has less human interference. Now those who have given me the answer B, can you give me the logic? What are biogeographic zones in the chat? Give me the definition. What are biogeographic zones? And yes, the answer is B. The answer is B, but give me the justification. Beta, less human interference. Himalayan range has one of the highest human interference. Don't you see what is happening in Jammu and Kashmir, Leh Ladakh? Ecotones, biogeographical zones and ecotones, are they the same? Or biogeographical zones is a bigger entity? Ankit, do you happen to be an optional student? If you are, beta, then you are in trouble here. Chaliye. So what exactly are biogeographical realms? This is a rough map of the different biogeographical realms. There are 12 countries which are mega diverse countries or mega diversity countries. India is one of them. You have Palearctic, Nearctic. Pale word or is for old world, and Nia word is for new world. It is for new world. All right. So this is considered as New World. As you know that Europeans consider themselves as Old World, and the world that they have discovered is considered as New World. So North America, South America is near Arctic, near tropical. Yes, ecotone is a very specific, Ankit. Therefore, I am telling you. For example, I can say I have an ecotone region in this, which is the confluence of Sahara and Congo River Basin, which is my savanna grassland. But I cannot call it the entire biogeographical zone. Now you understood why I told you don't confuse it with the ecotones. Don't confuse it with the ecotones. These are the areas which have one of the basically your entire world has been divided into this region. And why Himalayas are having high biodiversity? Because it is the confluence of Palearctic and Indo-Malayan. As you can see here, I am having Palearctic and Indo-Malayan. All right. Any confusion here? Any confusion here? Any confusion here? Chaliye. So those who are new to this concept, you can say that India is rich in biodiversity because of its diverse physiography and climatic condition, and it falls in the confluence of three major realms, which is Indo-Malayan, Eurasian, and in this region, in this particular region, Afrotropical. But if I am only concerned about the Himalaya, then in Himalaya I am having two biogeographical realms. I hope it is clear. I hope it is clear. If you want, you can write this down. Write this down. And India is one of the 12 mega biodiversity countries. What is your homework? Your homework is write all the mega diverse countries. All the mega diverse countries. All right. Chaliye. When it comes to vegetation, we can divide it into three parts, which is forest, grassland, desert, scrubs. Forests are again tropical rainforest, deciduous forest, evergreen forest, temperate deciduous forest, and Mediterranean forest, and coniferous forest, also called as boreal and taiga. You have to simply remember it like this. I have 6 types of forest. I have in total 2 types of grasslands, and I have 2 types of scrubs. So what are the total number of natural vegetations? The total number of natural vegetations are 10, and then you divide your world according to it. Alright, chaliye. This also can help you in having a general analysis on the type of natural vegetation which India has. The markers here say that tropical moist deciduous forest. Tropical moist deciduous forest are this region. This region. Then you have the wet evergreen, which is dark green. As you can see, this region, it is having wet evergreen region. Then you have semi-evergreen, which is in fluorescent green, and you have dry deciduous. So I see that in India, I am having majority of the forest as dry deciduous or deciduous. If I say that India is basically a deciduous forest country, then it won't be wrong, because I have majority of the forests which are deciduous. Chaliye, please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Now, what do I understand? What do I understand by temperate alpine zone? Temperate alpine zone, is it Manas National Park? Is it Namdafa? Is it Neora Valley? Is it Valley of Flowers? One of the biggest problem is that I am having all of these in the Himalayan range. True or not? Are all of these national park in Himalayan range? In the Himalayan range. So now here is where your vegetation and climate based on each region will help you in identifying the answer. In identifying the answer. Alright, this you have to tell me. This you have to tell me. You have to find out from this map, and then you have to give me the answer of this. Will you give me the answer tomorrow? Will you give me the answer tomorrow? Chaliye. Please answer this question. Please answer this question. And you will not simply give me the answer to this particular question. You will tell me that which each of these national park has what type of climate, what type of vegetation, and what type of important species. Each of these. All right. Please attempt this question now. Please attempt this question. Do you really do all these assignments that I give you? Very honestly tell me. Do you spend time after the class? Chaliye. This one talks about biodiversity is normally greater in the lower latitudes. Lower latitudes. Majority of you are giving me the answer value of flowers in Uttarakhand. But again, I want you to give me a proper answer of why this region would be the answer. Okay. Chaliye. The biodiversity is normally greater in the lower latitudes. Then along with the mountain gradient, biodiversity is normally greater in the lower compared to the higher. Most of you are saying that both A and C, both 1 and 2 are correct and C is the answer. Are we absolutely clear that equatorial region any day will have more biodiversity in the polar region, and the foothills of Himalaya? Now again, I am talking about the Himalayan region. Himalayan region. Do you think it is same with the Himalayan region? That here the biodiversity will also be same? The answer is of course C, because altitude mimics latitude. How many of you know this? How many of you know this? That altitude mimics latitude. So since altitude mimics latitude, the lower altitude will resemble the kind of properties that lower latitude has, and the higher altitude will mimic the properties of higher latitude. All right. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. So this question says that which of the following criteria have contributed to the recognition of Western Ghats, Sri Lanka and Indo-Burma region as hotspot of biodiversity? Is it species richness? Is it vegetation density? Is it endemism? Is it ethnobotanical importance? Is it threat perception? Or is it adaptation of flora and fauna? The sad part is none of them have all of the above. Otherwise, I know my students, majority of you would have gone for all of the above. All of the above. Now, I want to tell you one thing. When it comes to biodiversity hotspot, there are two major, requirements which are followed. How many of you know about this? What are the two major requirements? Two major requirements. Two major requirements. One is that it should have more than 1500 endemic species. It should have more than anybody. What is the second requirement? It should have more than 1500 plus endemic species of vascular plants. Second, this region should have more than 70% of its habitat destroyed or under threat. So these are the two conditions, two very specific conditions. One, it should have more than 1500 plus endemic species of vascular plants. Second, more than 70% of its habitat has already been destroyed. Now, do you still want to stick to your answer, which is 1, 3 and 5? 1, 3, which talks about species richness, endemism and threat perception. I think majority of you are going with this answer. Now, are we absolutely clear why C is the answer? Why C is the answer? Because there has to be species richness. I think somebody has mentioned also species richness plus loss of habitat, also called as threat perception. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Now this question says that human activities in the recent past have caused the increased concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but lot of it does not remain in the lower atmosphere because one, it escapes into the outer stratosphere, the photosynthesis by phytoplanktons in the ocean, the trapping of air in the polar ice caps. I think again a very simple question. Do you think this is a tough question? This is basically talking about what? Carbon sequestration. Can I say that? It is basically talking about carbon sequestration. What are the methods of carbon sequestration? Very good, very good. I am getting a lot of answers. I am getting a lot of answers, which is C. Now, this was the slide I had actually earlier removed, which is about the destruction of two important poles, which is Arctic and Antarctic. The Arctic and the Antarctic region, if you want, you can take a screenshot of it. You can take a screenshot of it. You can take a screenshot of it. You go through this and then you will understand why I had kept this slide. This basically gives you few details about the Arctic and Antarctic. I simply wanted to include it because it will help you in the mains answer writing. So may not be very useful right now, but will help you in the mains answer writing. Chaliye, let's come to the next question. The formation of ozone hole in the Antarctic region. The formation of ozone hole in the Antarctic region has been a cause of concern. What could be the reason for the formation of this hole? First is the presence of prominent tropospheric turbulence and inflow of chlorofluorocarbon, presence of prominent polar front and stratospheric clouds and inflow of chlorofluorocarbon, absence of polar front and stratospheric cloud and inflow of methane and chlorofluorocarbon, increased temperature at polar regions due to global warming. Think hard before answering this question. Think hard before answering this question. Think hard. You all know, I'll give you a hint. What are the conditions of chlorofluorocarbons to create ozone hole? Anybody? All right, I'm getting the answer as B by a lot of students. Getting the answer as B. Can you give me the logic behind giving the answer B? Can you give me the logic behind giving the answer B? The logic behind is, of course, the polar front creates the necessary cold conditions. Do we know that we need necessary cold conditions for chlorofluorocarbons to act upon ozone and break it down? For that breaking, I need the prominent polar front. Is there any doubt in this question? Now, if you want, you can write down these notes, which is about the prominent. Yes, I think everybody got an idea about it. Now, what are the major greenhouse gases? The major greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, water vapor, methane, ozone, nitrous oxides, and chlorofluorocarbon. And this is the general share of each. Yes, chlorofluorocarbons and the polar stratospheric clouds, extremely low temperature. I think we all know why I need a proper good polar front for the chlorofluorocarbons to act on ozone and deplete ozone and create ozone holes. Now, here 60% is the share of carbon dioxide. Therefore, we focus so much on the depletion of carbon dioxide. Then I have 20% methane, 14% chlorofluorocarbons, and 6% of nitrous oxide. Now, the oxides of nitrogen are generally with the formula NOx. All right. Cryosphere. What is cryosphere? Cryosphere is nothing but the frozen part of water, which is part of the Earth's water system. Cryosphere is extremely important. Now, please tell me why global warming and reducing cryosphere is a cause of concern. Please give me a few points. Why the reducing cryosphere is a problem for me? 1, sea level rise. Do we understand what does reduction in the cryosphere means? Basically, melting of the polar and the ice cap region or snow capped region. So, 1 is by sea level rise. What will be the second one? Destruction of habitat for polar animals. What would be third? Very good. I've got one answer from Infinity, which is albedo reduction. What is albedo reduction? That do we know that the pure ice or true ice, or which is called as the white ice, is one of the best reflectant of incoming heat. So we all know the heat budget of Earth. So can I say the heat budget will be disturbed? Few questions back, we talked about carbon sequestration, how snow caps are the sources of carbon capture. So don't you think there will be a release of captured carbon dioxide, methane, etc.? There will be a release. So hence increased greenhouse gases. Hence further increases global warming. Alright, so Bhavani has said that black dust particles inside polar ice caps are absorbing and leads to melting of the ice. What is it called? Is it called the grey ice? How many of you have come across the news or a case study that a huge portion of Greenland has turned grey? Do we know the position of Greenland? Right? Donald Trump wanted to purchase Greenland. Greenland said we are not at all interested in being purchased, and a majority of the portion of the Greenland ice has actually become grey because of these black dust particles or soot. It is creating two problems. One, the overall albedo is reduced because it is not pure ice anymore, and second, it is also causing a problem for the flora and fauna and is creating trouble for the species in that region. Please attempt this question. Chaliye. This question talks about the increasing amount of carbon dioxide in the air is slowly raising the temperature of the atmosphere because it absorbs what? The water vapor of air and retains its heat, the ultraviolet part of solar radiation, all solar radiation, the infrared part. Very easy. Water vapor of air. Can carbon dioxide absorb water vapor of air? Acha. Think about it. Think about it. Acha, chaliye. Let me give you a hint. Then it will come. What is albedo effect? This is your Suraj Chachu. Right? Chanda Mama so gaye, Suraj Chachu jage. Now Suraj Chachu is sending the heat. Heat. Alright. The incoming heat is UVA, UVB. How many of you have seen on the sunscreen mentioned protection from UVA and UVB? Now these are having these rays are short waves and I've got one answer. These are short waves and they enter the surface quicker. But Earth absorbs this heat and then back radiates, and this back radiation are long waves. How many of you can recall all this? Yes, I've got two answers. You're going somewhere. So what is this? It is the infrared part of the solar waves. The ultraviolet part is the absorbed and the back radiated is the infrared part of the solar waves. Infrared part of the solar waves. The water vapor of the air, absorption of water vapor of the air and retention of heat. It is the heat which absorbs the water vapor. It is the heat which absorbs the water vapor. Is there any doubt in this question? It is a little conceptual question. Now does it make sense to everyone? Now does it make sense to everyone? So what is the role here? If I have greenhouse gas here, it will absorb these infrared rays. It will absorb the infrared rays. The UV rays is absorbed by the surface. The greenhouse gases absorb the infrared rays. Now how many of you are okay with this? We remember the greenhouse gas map, the diagram of greenhouse gas. If you have understood, we can proceed further. If you want, I can explain it again. I've got a mixture. Few have now shifted their answer to B. Few have kept it to D. The answer to this question is D. The answer to this question is D. Among the greenhouse gases, only water vapor has the ability to absorb both incoming and outgoing. Incoming is the UV rays and outgoing is the infrared. If you do not know about this, why to eliminate B? No, because your greenhouse gas the majority of the rays are infrared rays which are being absorbed. Very few back radiated UV rays are absorbed. चलिए, All right, I'll try to explain it again. The rays from sun which are received on earth. Let us imagine this is the earth's surface. These are the UV rays as UVA and UVB. If you don't remember AB, ultraviolet rays. So basically your earth absorbs ultraviolet rays, but your greenhouse gases are already present. Out of all the greenhouse gases, only methane has the water vapor has the ability to absorb ultraviolet waves. Rest of the greenhouse gases are not absorbing them. What are they absorbing? They have created this blanket on earth. The greenhouse gases have created this blanket on earth. When this absorbed heat is radiated back, it is radiated back in the form of long infrared rays or infrared waves. Alright, long short if we don't remember, it is radiated back as infrared. All the greenhouse gases, including water vapor, have the ability to absorb this infrared waves, maintaining the temperature of earth. If your earth does not have greenhouse gases, it will come down to the temperature of minus 19 degrees Celsius or below. It is because of the presence of greenhouse gases you have the optimum temperature for survival of different species on earth. Now have you understood it completely? All right, chaliye, please attempt this question. Chaliye, so this says greenhouse gas protocol. It is either an international accounting tool for governing and business leaders to understand, quantify the man-age greenhouse gas emission. Is it an initiative by the UN? Is it an intergovernmental agreement, or it is one of the multilateral REDD plus initiative? So this was in news at that time. The answer to this is A. If you want, you can take a screenshot of greenhouse gas protocol, because recently COP26 has been concluded, so anything related to greenhouse gas becomes important, although according to me not very important, but if you want you can take the screenshot of it. I'll remove myself. Please attempt this question. I purposefully mention the year of the questions which are a little older. So this question talks about the reasons and factors for exposure of benzene pollution. So this was, I think, 2019 or 20 question. Is it the automobile exhaust, tobacco smoke, wood burning, using varnish? Now this question is strictly from NCERT. This question has been taken strictly from NCERT. I think easy. Yes, I've got one answer from Sushmita. Sushmita, do you know about this, or since all of them seem to be the sources of benzene, you are giving this answer? All right, chaliye. So the answer to this is of course D, but I want you to write down these notes about what are the sources of benzene pollution. It is automobile and petroleum industry. It is a polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon. It is also present in the particle board furniture, plywood, fiberglass, adhesive paints, wood paneling, etc. Please attempt this question. Yes, they do seem to be the questions, but these days what they are doing, they are not giving the options as all of the above. So that is where there can be a little problem. Please attempt this question. There is a homework for you. If you can't find, do let me know. I'll tell you from where to read, which is to study about persistent organic pollutants, also called as POPs. Persistent organic pollutants. Please try to find the different sources and the kind of issues which persistent organic pollutants say. So 36% of India's districts are classified as overexploited or critical. CGWA was formed under the Environmental Protection Act. India has the largest area underground irrigation of water in the world. Now here the answer is D. The answer is D. This was sorry. The answer is not D here. The answer is 2 and 3. 2 and 3. You have to understand 36% is a huge number. 36% is not the total area where you are having water scarcity. The research paper gave these kind of findings, and no, it is not part of the Air Pollution Act. It is not part of the Air Pollution Act. It is part of the Environmental Pollution Act. Do not get confused there. Do not get confused there. Your homework is recently, and one more request, please, when I give you these assignment, if you can't find them, you have to ask me the next day, ma'am, I could not find this answer anywhere. Please tell me from where to read and what is the answer to it. All right, I'm not leaving it without giving you the answer. I just want you to know how to find these answers. Now your homework in this regard would be, what is the percentage of water stressed districts? Because recently also there has been a report on groundwater. Groundwater again is extremely important. In fact, in the economic survey this year, there was a very elaborate discussion of groundwater. How many of you have seen that in the economic survey? So since groundwater has been discussed again in economic survey is extremely important for your prelims. Please this is what I'm trying to teach you, beta. You saw a question, I'm giving you the hint that this year again economic survey has asked or mentioned about the groundwater. You simply find out the extract the important areas or important kind of topics from that, and you can prepare from these questions. If you are not able to find the answers, please reach out to me. Please reach out to me. Do not leave them unanswered in your head. All right. Now, this is something that I would want to teach if the time permits, but let us do a few questions first and let me see how much of understanding you have about the UN based conventions. Please attempt this question. Does it make sense to everybody? Does it make sense? Will you be doing these assignments? Yes or no? Please attempt this question. It talks about the carbon dioxide emission and global warming, the area that you were concerned, how to learn about the different conventions, how to remember them, and how to remember the important topics from there. Now, what is the name of the market-driven device under the UNFCCC that allows the developing countries to get funds, initiatives? I think extremely easy. I'm getting 2-3 answers. The first answer is clean development. Next, I'm getting a lot of carbon credit. You have to understand there are three things that you have to remember from the, this is part of Kyoto Protocol. Do we remember this? Do we know that this is part of the Kyoto Protocol? Right? So this is part of the Kyoto Protocol, and Kyoto Protocol gave three mechanisms. First was carbon credit mechanism, then clean development mechanism, and joint implementation. Joint implementation. How many of you know very clearly about all the three, or you are confused, or there is a confusion? If there is a confusion, then let me know, because the answer to this is clean development mechanism. What is clean development mechanism? Whoever have answered C, proud of you. Whoever have answered B, you have to understand, do not get confused. This is the last resort. This is the stock market kind of market created. But these are the more long-term solutions. What is in joint implementation? There are two types of countries, Annex 1 countries and non-Annex countries. Annex 1 countries are the rich countries, all right, or the developed world. Non-Annex countries are the developing countries or poor countries, developing countries like India, poor countries like African countries. So in joint implementation, the two rich countries or Annex 1 countries will come together, put a project which will reduce the overall greenhouse gas. All right. Whereas in the clean development mechanism, the rich countries will put an investment in the developing countries or least developed countries, but the reduction in the carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases will be given to the rich country, and hence they can earn the credit. If at all after doing all of this they are still not able to fulfill their criteria, then countries like India, which do not have any foundation, if they reduce the greenhouse gases, then they can sell the carbon credit to the rich countries to fulfill their quota. Is it clear to everybody? Is it clear to everybody? Please answer this question. Chaliye. Clean development mechanism is the in respect of carbon credits is one of the Kyoto Protocol mechanism. Under the CDM, the projects handled pertain only to Annex 1 countries. I have taught you right now. Easy? What is the answer? Easy? Answer is A only. Chaliye. Attempt this question. Attempt this question. Very good, very good. All of you are correct. Attempt this question. Chaliye. This is about carbon credits again. Carbon credits, which one of the following statements are correct? A carbon credit system was ratified in conjunction with the Kyoto Protocol. Not correct पूछ रहा है, ठीक है? Not correct. Carbon credits are awarded to countries or groups that have reduced greenhouse gases below their emission quota. The goal of carbon credit system is to limit the increase of carbon dioxide emission. Carbon credits are traded at a fixed price from time to time by the UNEP. UNEP. Now this is a classic example. If I do not know this structure, if I do not know this structure, it will be difficult for me to answer. It will be difficult for me to answer. Therefore, you need to know when each of the programs started. When each of the programs started. All right. This is the incorrect answer. This is the incorrect answer because it, as I told you earlier also, it acts as stock market. It acts as stock market. Can you fix a price in the stock market? Can you fix a price in the stock market? Since you cannot fix a price in the stock market, UNEP also cannot fix the price of carbon credit. Chaliye, these are three conventions which you need to know, which is Basel Convention, Rotterdam Convention and Stockholm Convention. Basel Convention, Rotterdam Convention and Stockholm Convention, also called as the BRS Convention. Very quickly, if you want, you can simply take a screenshot of it, but let us very quickly revise. The Basel Convention, it is for hazardous waste. It is for hazardous waste. What kind of hazardous waste? Do you know about these type of news where Canada had sent a ship which is full of e-waste to Southeast Asian countries? So a lot of rich countries or developed countries actually send their waste to the least developed or developing countries, and they can create major ecological and other problems for the country. So your Basel Convention actually prohibits all the imports of hazardous waste. So that is Basel. Second convention is Rotterdam, again important, which is for chemical and pesticides. So the international trade of chemicals and pesticides has to be ratified, or the permission has to be taken from Rotterdam Convention. It is not prohibiting, but you have to take the consent before doing the trade. So this is prohibiting and this is consent seeking. Third is Stockholm Convention. Stockholm Convention restricts, it is restricting the production and use of persistent organic pollutants. Persistent organic pollutants, these are the 7 important persistent organic pollutants. If you want, you can take a screenshot and write these down. Now please attempt this question. Please attempt this question, which is again related to your environment. Coal combustion, which is carbon dioxide, oxides of nitrogen and sulfur. Which of the among are the emissions from coal combustion? Extremely easy. Extremely easy. Very quickly give me an answer. Very quickly give me an answer. All right. Very quickly give me an answer. The answer, of course, is all of these. All of these. In fact, power plants, thermal power plants are one of the biggest sources of air pollution. Now please attempt this question. Please attempt this question, which is in the context of ecosystem productivity. Now this is a good conceptual question. In context of ecosystem productivity, marine upwelling zones are important as they increase the marine productivity by bringing what? The question has one part: decomposer, microorganisms to the surface, nutrients to the surface, bottom dwelling organisms to the surface. All right, I am getting majority of the answer as D only. Do we study about it in El Nino? The upwelling. Do we study about it in El Nino? I've got one answer, which is 2 only. 2 only. So I am getting 2 answers, which is 2 and 3. 2 and 3, and I am getting one answer is 2 only. Which do you think is the correct answer? Why do you think 3 is the answer? Why do you think 3 is the answer? What makes you think 3? Can you give me the logic behind 3? Bottom dwelling organisms to the surface. In El Nino, when did the organisms come in the picture? Bhai? Do not get confused. Do not get confused. The answer is B. The answer is B, which is 2 only. Which is 2 only. Chaliye, come to the next question. Next question. There is a concern over the increase in harmful algal blooms in the sea waters of India. What could be the causative factor for the phenomena? What could be the causative factor? Causative factor. Discharge, again very easy, which is eutrophication. Discharge of nutrients from the estuaries. Discharge of nutrients from the estuaries. Then runoff from the land during the monsoon. Upwelling in the seas. Upwelling in the seas. What is it saying? Algal bloom. Algal bloom can be attributed to which of these? To which of these? Again, very simple question. Please give me an answer fast. Please give me an answer fast. Yes, nutrients and cold water, right? Not the organisms. Chaliye. The answer to this is D, of course, all of these. And can I say that this is how the entire system actually works? So basically, the nutrient load up, excessive nutrients from the fertilizers, they are flushed in the lakes, then the plants flourish. These pollutants cause aquatic plant growth. What are the pollutants? The different types of fertilizers. And here algae, duckweed, seaweed, all of these, they start flourishing. Now what is happening? Because of the algal bloom, the oxygen is decreasing. Why? Because it is creating the aphotic zone. The photic zone is restricted. Because of the restricted photic zone, the overall sunlight penetration decreases and overall oxygen production is reduced. But what increases? Biological oxygen demand. The biological oxygen demand increases. Why does biological oxygen demand increase? Because of the increased death of flora and fauna, and decomposers actually act on it and their population implodes. Their population becomes very high, and finally the overall death of ecosystem takes place. So because of all of this, all of these factors, your ecosystem has collapsed here. Please attempt this question. So according to the India's national policy on biofuels, which can be used for production of biofuel, very quickly tell me, what is the answer? What is the answer for this? I'll give you a hint. It is not all of the above. Please, it is not all of the above. Not D. Chaliye. Now tell me, what will be the answer? What will be the answer to this question? Cassava, damaged wheat grains, groundnut seeds, horse gram, rotten potatoes, sugar beet. Now you have to understand one thing, that creation of biofuels does not mean that you are going to compromise on the food security. All right, very good. Those who are giving the answer A, do you see that you're basically using either the seeds which are not very important for nutrition security or food security, or are damaged? So yes, the answer is A. The answer is A. Congratulations to all of you who could come to the conclusion. If you want, you can write the components of the national policy on biofuels, or you can take a screenshot for the same. Please attempt this question. Now, here they are talking about, in context of which of the following do some scientists suggest the use of cirrus cloud thinning technique and the injection of sulfate aerosols in the stratosphere? In the stratosphere. In which of these? In which of these? One, thinning of cirrus clouds, and second, injection of sulfate aerosols. Sulfate has cooling effect. Sulfate has cooling effect. Artificial rain. Come on, artificial rain में किसके? Do you used to use sulfates in artificial rain? Come on. It has cooling effect. Again, I am telling you. चलिए. So, of course, it is for global warming. It is for global warming. So, why for global warming? Please, if you do not know, please write it down. Sulfate aerosols are one very good reflectors. What? Acha, you tell me what are the aerosols, or what are the particles which are used for artificial rain? In the southern states, there was in fact a campaign in Karnataka which was called the CM rains. The CM rains. These states which have a lot of problem when it comes to water sharing, there was a campaign that the chief minister is going to create rainfall by using silver iodide. Now do we remember? All right. Good. So, the sulfate aerosol particles are a very good reflector of sunlight, first point. It has been shown through various climate models that even if 1% of the current incident solar radiation is reflected back, a significant amount of temperature rise can be controlled. So, the answer to this question would be D. Now, do we know about these initiatives? Do we know about these initiatives such as Fit for 55 and all that? Do you want me to teach these, or you can do it on your own? Therefore, I am skipping from these because I believe that a lot of you can do it on your own. Chaliye, please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. This question talks about which of the following statements best describes the term social cost of carbon. Social cost of carbon. That is the monetary value. I think it is more or less a self-explanatory question. Self-explanatory question. What would be the answer for this? Please, anybody make guesses. What would be the answer for this? Answer is A. Very good. It is the long-term damage which is done by a ton of carbon emission in the given year. In the given year. Right? Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Please attempt this question. Alright, so this talks about the steel slag. It can be used as a material for which of the following: construction of base road, improvement of agricultural soil, production of cement. Why are you removing cement from this? I have the answer as 1 and 2. I am getting the answer as 1 and 2 only, 1 and 3 only. And I have got one answer as D. The solution to this is D. The solution to this is D. It can be used in all the three possibilities. All the three possibilities. It is used in production of cement as well. Cement as well. Alright. The answer to this would be D. So, steel slag, if you do not know, please write. Steel slag is an unavoidable byproduct. Unavoidable byproduct. It can be used in the road metal and bases, producing Portland or slag cement. It is also used for soil conditioning. It is also used for soil conditioning. If it has been taken from the Indian Bureau of Mines. Indian Bureau of Mines. If you do not know, just remember that these are the three possible applications of steel slag. This is the second last question for today. Please attempt this question. Second last question for today. Second last question. In the rural road construction, use of which of the following is preferred for ensuring environmental sustainability or reduction of carbon footprinting? Copper slag, cold mixed asphalt technology, geotextiles, hot mix asphalt technology, or Portland cement? Portland cement. The answer to this is A. The answer to this is A. Very good, I've got one answer. So coir is a natural fiber which is used. Then you use copper slag. Then you use hot mix asphalt technology. If you can imagine how the roads are built, you can go for this. Alright, coming to the last question which is, in the context of which of the following are the terms pyrolysis and plasma gasification mentioned? Pyrolysis and plasma gasification. Is it extraction of earth elements? Is it natural gas extraction? Is it hydrogen fuel based automobiles or waste to energy? Pyrolysis. Pyrolysis किस में यूज होता है? It is basically from waste to energy. Whenever you are trying to create energy from waste, you use pyrolysis and plasma gasification. If you want, you can screenshot the following explanation. Alright, so today my purpose for today's class was to cover as many questions as possible from environment. I have taken the inputs from you on the areas where you find problem. We'll be continuing with the geography questions now, and whatever important environment questions, especially of the year 2021 and 2020, I wanted to take them in detail so that we get an idea of the latest trend. If you have any doubt from current class, please let me know. Otherwise, we can call it an end session. I hope you have learned something today. I hope it helped you getting a better idea about the kind of questions which can come. So if it helps you, then I'll be happy. Please let me know if you have any doubt, or otherwise we can complete this session. Thank you, Syed. All right, chali. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you, Bhavani. Thank you, all of you. You've been a wonderful class, and I hope by the end of our sessions you are comfortable in these particularly two sessions. I'll try my level best to help you as much as I can in terms of giving you content and the explanation. Thank you so much.